So it's looking like there's a good chance we might be able to do the Beastars reviews on Fridays, which would be awesome because, I mean, if this episode is any indication of the quality going forward, this season is going to be even better than season one. I was blown away not only by the Louis content that completely went in directions I was not expecting after seeing big badass boss come in after last week, to see actually how he got roped into that situation, not even willingly, literally wanting to die at the end of season one. But then you get all the Legoshi content with Haru and the idea of trying to find Thames of murder, and, it's such an interesting concept because if you look at these two characters, they're completely going against their natural roles. Someone like, obviously Louis, should be a herbivore. He should be someone to be the Beastar, someone who would play nice and not go against the status quo. Instead, is now willingly, even though he was kind of like, it felt like forced at gunpoint to do it, he decided, this is the hand I'm going to be dealt. I'm going to become what they think I can't be. He became a meat eater. And I know there's been some discussion being like, that's unrealistic. How would a deer eat meat? You can look at the animal kingdom in general from, there's cows eat meat. There's a lot of herbivore that if you give them meat in front of them, they can actually eat it and they will eat it willingly. So it's not even unrealistic for the animal side, and the fact that we're going with these kind of like social issues and social stories, it makes for a more intriguing plotline as someone who's switching from being a herbivore to being someone who's fine eating meat, and I wouldn't be surprised if he'd even eat a deer at this point in time. And then you obviously have Legoshi, who is a carnivore, who is stronger than pretty much anyone. There's actually a good comment in my comment section last week talking about how he easily beat a kangaroo boxer last week. I wasn't even thinking about it. Kangaroos are ridiculously powerful, and this man didn't even break a sweat, not only against a kangaroo, but a trained boxer kangaroo. He is someone you would think would be the most ferocious of carnivores, but he's the most gentlest of hearts. And the fact that he's putting himself in a situation to just protect herbivores from the distance. It's very interesting how both these characters are going against the status quo, and we're literally watching this society kind of reach a breaking point, something that's probably going to shake the foundation going forward for their social statuses. I mean, you get this new goat character who gets introduced who's an asshole, it kind of feels like. Very pleasant voice, pretty boy voice, but he kind of seems like a bit of an asshole if I'm being honest, but I'm really excited to see what he's going to offer because he has no chill, no fear whatsoever, and has no problem shaking down even the biggest and baddest of wolves. But I like the idea of having Louis and Legoshi in these kind of like opposite roles because it puts them into such interesting territory. And I really like the Haru content in this episode because for Haru, you can definitely tell Legoshi and Haru have feelings for the other, but for someone like Haru, she still is connected to someone like Louis. That's a love that was clearly there and she has to get over it because that shit ain't coming back anytime soon, and if it does, it'll be very toxic from Louis' side based on the type of person he clearly is right now. So to have Haru actually go in for that kiss and Legoshi go in for that kiss, but him recognizing that there is a lot of complexity there and he's perfectly content, or so he says, just protecting her from a distance. That isn't true, but for a boy who, is a virgin, and for a boy who is very confused about himself because he wants to protect those that he naturally is supposed to eat by instinct, I think it's a very interesting concept that I'm really happy to see that is continuing to be fleshed out and they didn't just get magically resolved, because that's one of the things that made season 1 so interesting is that I actually took the time to make these relationships complex and not so one-sided and superficial. The Louis stuff, though, I have to say, really shocked me because I think I can speak for a lot of anime onlys, we probably assumed that he put gun up to their head saying I'm the new boss, but no, he actually wanted to be eaten, and after them kind of debating what to do with it, he was put in a situation that felt like a gun to his head, not a gun to theirs. I think that's interesting because when you look at your boss being dead, the fact that they weren't even worried about the guy who killed him because it's a damn deer, right? He has a gun, but we're lions, we're tigers, right? We're bears, oh my, we can do whatever the hell we want to this guy. It's very unlikely that he could kill all of us. So it's more of a, what the hell do we do? And it's well, this kid's the Beastar. In that case, what if we put him as the boss? And it's a stupid idea, and half of them thought it was stupid, but it also is an interesting one. I think what makes this kind of topic so fascinating is that they're trying to do something that will change their face, because the idea of these gangs and things like that, people know what to expect. But if you had a group of lions, or you had a group of any carnivores out there, with the face of someone who used to be this prestigious Beastar in the making student, and now he's the one leading, and he has no problem eating meat in front of you, he has no problem shooting you in the head if you piss him off, what would that do to your status? That would get everyone talking about you, and that's quite fascinating. And the fact that he, like, throughout this entire episode was not wanting to give in to them. He was saying, okay, either I eat the meat and become their puppet, or I'm going to become this plate of food. What do I do? And he actually had to, like, stomach the smell. And by the time he took that first bite, when he said delicious, give me more. I mean, that's how you know a badass but potentially questionable person is in the making. And I think that's going to be very fascinating because there's still more to learn about what happened after that. But to see that he decided to play up the role, but clearly, I mean, based on last week, he pointed a gun to that driver's head saying, like, don't tempt me, don't question me, I'm the boss, you're going to follow my rules. I'm sure there definitely are some people not as fearful of Louis, but still, it shows that he rose to that role and decided to say, you know what, it's kill or be killed, and I'm done trying to be fearful in my own life, I'm going to kill need be. And that's so interesting because rather than going what I think a lot of authors in this situation would go for, by putting, say, the carnivore on the herbivore side trying to protect them, they did equal, having it flipped on both sides and giving such an interesting concept, all things considered. I mean, the whole idea that, you know, he's actually confronting everyone, talking about, you know, like, Thames murder and things like that, and even though there's definitely some hostility surrounding, like, Locus and some characters, at the end of the day, they stick together because they're carnivores, and it's interesting how, like, they all recognize the fact that, like, yeah, most likely one of us had to have done it, and there's no way we can necessarily prove we didn't, but we'll stick together and we'll protect the herbivores. That's the only way to really clear our name. And the fact that, like, in the middle of this, because for Locus it's the most important thing, finding Thames murder, for a bunch of high school students who are horny, they're like, tell me how it was having sex with this rabbit. And I'm like, oh my god. And this man had, like, the most cliche cringe line ever, talking about how the memory was enough for him as a virgin. And I love how they just throw it in his face. The show definitely knows how to sprinkle in those funny moments while also being serious where it counts, and I really like it for that. I think based on the 3 episodes that we've currently seen for Season 2, if the quality remains consistent as what we've seen, if not improves from here, without a doubt, Season 2 will be better than Season 1, and I already thought Season 1 was close to a masterpiece, so I'm being completely honest. The only reason I say close is because it's an incomplete story, right? You can't really say it is until you get more, and the fact that they're focusing on Tim's murder this time around and seeing the aftermath of Louis' shooting and, you know, Haru and Legoshi's relationship, like, I feel like we're going to get to a really close point that, you know, obviously we'll get more seasons down the line because it was wildly successful, but I mean, with Season 1 and 2, it's a masterpiece in the making, I have to be completely honest. I'm really excited for more. I think, once again, production on point. It was funny, it was heartwarming, it was frightening, it had a lot of development, and I'm glad that they didn't just simply go with Louis pointing gun saying, I'm boss. They actually used him, and then he ended up using them in return. Really great development, I have to say, and I'm really excited for more. Hopefully these videos will continue to go up on Friday, but I guess time will tell with the subtitles and things like that. But let me know your thoughts and feelings, and definitely those theories down below. What did you think, and where do you think I might go with episode 4 next week? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.